Okay, the next part of the level, the subway. Let's begin with an inspirational quote. Oh. Well, we can prove them wrong. That's where we'll take the inspiration. So the subway level, for the survivors, right out the gate, we need to be careful out in this area. So this little bit down here is a bit of a death trap. You do need to be careful. There's two ways to play it. You either all come out here and just try to kill all the zombies around. What I like to do is run and jump over this side just to set all the zombies off, because when the zombies underneath here see you, they'll run after you. So I'll then jump straight back across. So literally just do this. Maybe fire a couple of shots just to get attention and then jump back. If I stay over here, I'm at risk of being grabbed by a smoker or a jockey and being pulled down here earlier than I'd like. So it's good to try and just sit up here, try and kill all the zombies around, maybe try and bait out some infected. They'll probably either spawn up there. So yeah, good to be careful on this spot. If you do drop down, you do need to either go straight underneath. But usually the best option, there might be a charger waiting on those stairs, but usually if you communicate with your team and say everybody straight down the stairs, then everybody should literally just do this. Aim for the stairs and hold W. And then that's usually one of the best ways to go. Just getting through that area as quick as possible. As long as you've killed the zombies, you should be able to move through quick. Like I say, there could be a charger down here which you need to be careful of, but honestly, while this is not a bad charge spot because it's kind of a narrow area, very often people do miss. So usually you're better off, unless you're pretty confident that you can get a charge, you'll usually just be better off coming out of this corner and just punching the crap out of everybody, or hiding behind here and trying to punch the crap out of everybody, because it can be a little bit of a fiddly area to try and nail a charge, and very often people do seem to miss. So yeah, if you come down here, you do need to get away from this little area as quickly as possible, because there's just so many spawn points behind all these pillars and things. It's just not a good area. The other option, like I say, is to drop down. You can get back up here, by the way. This little kind of narrow rock you can jump back up on, and then you can get back up in here. So if somebody gets grabbed, let's say a jockey drops down from here, which is what I try to do sometimes. If somebody lingers around up here by themselves, I'll jockey them here, drag them back into here, and then one of the survivors has to jump back up on this rock to be able to save them. And if there's zombies all over them, that can be very difficult. But there is a way back up, so do be aware of that little rock. But yeah, the other option, if you come out of the safe room straight away, is just to go down and then turn around and just everyone go to this corner. And just hold your own here for a second. You'll be able to defend each other. There's plenty of room. So yeah, that can be one of two options. Down here, don't ever come this way. I've seen so much bad shit happen with this vent that slows you down. You can come down here and maybe check for stuff to grab, because sometimes there's Molotovs and things, but honestly, just come back and go down the stairs. Because what often happens here is people go down here, and then they'll get jockeyed in here, and then they'll get a spitter in here, and then they're fucked. So it's really not worth the risk. There's never anything in the vent. The vent just slows you down, and you can go the other way. So worth taking the stairs pretty much every time. Even when you think you might be safe over there, just take the goddamn stairs. Just play it safe. When you come down here, worth coming around to this other side of the stairs, though, to check up here, because sometimes there can be Molotovs and pills and just anything useful, items might be here. So worth checking this, at least one person checking this. And then coming down the stairs. So this is a pretty important area. Sometimes you might get guns on the table here. Sometimes there might be one over here somewhere. Usually not a lot around here worth searching for, so good to just keep moving through this area. But this area is point of attention number one for this map, because this is the place you need to fight if there's a tank. This is where you want to fall back to if there's a tank. If you move a bit farther through the level and there's a tank coming, you hear the music, and somebody says back in chat, or even if they don't say back, you should come back here. If people keep moving forward when the tank's coming, you need to say back. Tell people to come back to here, because this is the best place to fight the tank. If you keep running forward, he will probably just smash the crap out of you, because it's much easier for him. So down here, there's lots of space to move. There's all these little barriers in the way, so you can jump around them, just dodge him. It's usually pretty easy. If this does happen, as a tank, you just need to be patient, sit out the way. If there's you got to try and get a boomer, really. It's the only way to try and make this really work. There is this little room you could spawn in, but survivors will very often watch it, and even if you're a boomer, unless somebody happens to be stood right here, it's difficult to get them from here, because you have to run all the way near them, and they'll probably hear you and shoot you before you get anywhere near them. So if you are a boomer, you've got to try and spawn in these little funny places, just like behind these maybe, in this room if you can, down here, just anywhere that's close to the survivors. If you can get them on this corner, you might be able to come out here and drop a boom. There's a few options. It's not easy, but it is what you got to do. Because if the tank comes down here by himself, he's just going to get messed up. The only other option is to have all the other special infected attack at the same time. Smokers, chargers, spitters, whatever. Just everything attack with the tank. That'll give you the best hope. But otherwise, it's a bit of a tough spot. I feel like I didn't speak enough about this area, actually, for infected. So up here, this can be a good drop down. I usually like to be a boomer and drop down from there. But you do need to wait for some kind of distraction. Because very often, a good survivor player will be sat watching that top area. They'll just be sat like this. And they won't move, so you'll forget they're there. Or they'll sit over here. And they'll just be watching here. So if you're a boomer and you try to drop down, they're just going to instantly pop you, and you'll be able to do absolutely nothing. So yeah, do be wary of that. Again, you can smoker people up here, try to grab them, get them stuck up there. You could be a smoker once they've all left the safe room. Just smoker in here, try to pull one back. That can be another little play. Yeah, not a lot else I think the infected can do here. Mostly that charger on the stairs you can try and get. The charger spitter combo is again a good place. Spitters have a field day in this area if there's loads of zombies around. If someone's got a boom and there's zombies everywhere and survivors are here, spitters can do a lot of damage in this area. So that's also a good one to look out for. Not a lot else to speak of on the way down, just this area for the tank. Now going left or right doesn't really make too much of a difference. I would say go right though, because we have a pretty easy way to get over to the other side. So sometimes if you don't get guns down here, there might be a gun up here. There might be some stuff. A pistol. Nothing over there. I want my katana back.
Nice.
But this little bin here, we can use this to go to the other side easily. And what you'll probably find is that there is a gun over this side. Although in this case, apparently not. There is a nightstick. But yeah, you can check this spot. There's sometimes a gun at the top of these stairs. So if you go to the right first, check for the gun. Instead of running all the way back down the stairs and coming down this way to check for the gun, you can just jump over that bin and get over the train. Worth checking down here as well. There's a grenade launcher in this case. Sometimes there's an M60 as well, which can be very useful for the tank. But yeah, worth having a little look down there and shining your torch just to see if there's anything that looks useful. Because that can be pretty useful in some situations. Train, best to probably avoid the train. These are just charger spitter combo heavens. So a good place to just avoid as a survivor. If there is somebody in there, you can try and grab them as any infected really. Hunters and jockeys can grab people in here. Smokers, just wait for those isolated targets. So yeah, mostly important thing here is just this bin can get you over here quick. Do be careful though, if your 3 survivor friends are over here and you're up on top of the train by yourself, a smoker may grab you from this side and pull you down, and then you'll be a little bit stuck. And they'll have to come around to save you or try to shoot you through the window, which can be a little bit of a pain in the ass. Good to check these benches as well around here. Sometimes there's items, Molotovs, pills, whatever. Yeah, so then we're just moving through here. Now, if you reach this point, and there's not a lot of zombies here, or you quickly kill all the zombies here, and a tank comes, you can hold out on this area. You don't need to run all the way back downstairs to that little ticket area. So up here is fine to fight the tank if there's no zombies around. If it's full of zombies, if you haven't cleared this area yet, even if you're like here, you're going to be better off to run back and go down those stairs to the first tank fight area. But this is tank fight area number 2, we'll call it. And standing up on this train is a good place to be. You can see everything. It's not easy for the infected to get you. And you can even jump over to this train, which can be good as well, especially if the tank comes. There's no way for the tank to climb onto these trains. He has to jump on them just like the survivors do, so he can't have a quick way to get up here. So you can't just blast him, try to jump if he, or move back or jump if he tries to hit you. So pretty easy to avoid the tank when sat up here, but of course, smokers and jockeys and things can pull you down, so you do need to be careful. A little room over here, usually not anything worthwhile in here, probably not worth checking. This little hole in the wall over here, pretty much ignore this completely if you're survivors. There's never really any use for it. The only time it might be useful if there's a witch in your way over here, you can come around here just to avoid her. Tank might want to use this hole though, infected might want to use this hole just as a place to spawn. Tank can use it just to kind of wait for survivors to come, or wait for an opportunity to get the survivors if they are holding up in this area and they're not distracted or anything. So yeah, good little tank fight spot here. Not a bad spot for infected as well. There are some little spawn points behind these pillars and things. If you position yourself right, you can hide out the way and you'll be able to spawn in areas where the survivors might not expect you. Molotovs here, spawn spot for that, and that is all of this area, I think. Do be careful of this fire as well if you're the tank. If you walk in it, I think it does set you off permanently, so you got to be careful not to light yourself on fire. Coming through this area, sometimes there's stuff here in this little corner. And in this little corner as well, there can be stuff, so worth checking both of those. Also the train as well, there could be stuff in the train at the end here, so worth checking that. Sometimes there's little things down here. Item spawns can be around here. None today though. But good to get through this area as quick as possible. Again, all these little pillars give spawn points for the infected, so good to try and avoid those. This train is a pretty dangerous area. We'll call this a point of attention because this can be another one of those spots where I've seen games end because it's a narrow corridor. There's only one way to go. Charger spitter combos have a field day. If a boomer gets involved as well and things, it just gets a bit of a nightmare. So you do have to be careful. Probably best if a whole team comes to, if your entire team starts running into the train, just wait back a few seconds, let them go through and see if a charger comes, because somebody's got to save them if they all get knocked over. So just be aware of that. And if you are a charger, this can be a good spot to try and get them. It's almost good to try and aim into the wall a little bit though. So you charge and then hit the wall and stop like here, because if you charge just straight out, you're probably just going to get shot by the survivors because it's quite easy, unless you knock them all over. Or you can try to come behind the survivors. If you wait like here, wait for the last one to go in, spawn, quickly, boom, charge. You might be able to get them, and then the spitter can come with you as well. So yeah, good charger spitter combo point this. Just got to be careful if you are the survivors. In this room, again, there's a few spawn points. It's not too bad. It's quite easy to defend. Worth coming in here to check for stuff. As you can see, there's lots of stuff in here. Sometimes stuff in the closet, but usually there's stuff in these corners. Good to grab that, as it will help you out on this level. This is a pretty tough level overall, I think, so it's a good one to try and grab stuff for. Might be guns around here on these tables. This can be a pretty dangerous spot as well. Do be careful of these stairs. We won't quite call it a point of attention, but it is one to really pay attention to. There might be a witch sat here at the top of the stairs. Chargers again, charger spitters. This is a good spot for them. Charge them down there. This room, a lot of spawn points. Pretty easy to defend though. It's quite open for survivors, so if you do get grabbed by a smoker, you can usually pretty easily save your teammate, or your teammate will save you. Guns on this table sometimes. Watch out for those. Occasionally things over here. Nothing today. We'll come back to that hole over there in a minute. This is a pretty dangerous spot here as well. This is probably the more dangerous stairs of these two stairs, including the ones over there. Again, charger spitter, always dangerous in this area. Boomers might like to hide up here as well. So yeah, watch out for this when you come up these stairs. It's another one of those spots where you just want to kind of bait. Come around here and just run halfway up the stairs and then go back. And if there's a charger up there, you'll probably hear them spawn and try to go for it. And then you can bait them out and make them fail. So yeah, watch out for that. Coming through here, this can be a little bit of a bad area with spitters and stuff. If a charger or any kind of infected grabs somebody down here, spits, it's a very small area. They can jump up on things. If you are survivors and this happens, jump up on the tables as quickly as possible. Get away from that spit. There is, of course, lots of stuff around this area to grab, so worth doing that. Not a lot else to speak of on these little turbines. Just try to get away from this area, really. There are, of course, the gas cans we want to make use of to place around. There is the event that you need to set off. Good to place these, maybe just like here in front of the room. You can set those off, cover yourself, and then just sit in this room. Usually the best strategy is just to sit in this room. This gun, it's nice to try and use, but unless you've got somebody actively covering you, you're probably going to get a zombie twatting you in the back of the head. So usually best to just not use the gun. Got pills in here, of course. You can jump up on here as well. A little cheeky spot to sit. But you do need to be very careful of this hole. Sitting maybe like here, you'll be okay, because if a smoker grabs you, you'll be dragged into this bench, but you won't go over it. And this is a good point for a smoker. If you are down here, a smoker, you can see people if they're sat in that corner. So as a survivor, never sit in that corner. If you're a smoker, you can stand here and try to pull people down the hole, because if you get somebody, they'll be down here all alone, and maybe another infected like a hunter will be able to jump on them and take advantage of it. If this does happen to one of your teammates, drop down with them as well as a survivor, because if they're alone, they're much more vulnerable. It's better to try and probably better to be a 2 and 2 rather than a 3 and 1. But at the same time, it's risky being a 2 and 2, because if a smoker and a jockey grab you, then there's 2 people getting fucked up rather than 1. So it is risky, but basically just never stand here as a survivor. Don't sit here and try to defend from here, because there's a good chance you'll get smokered down this hole. Just avoid this area. Stand maybe here at best. You'll be okay. Or like I say, jump up on top of there, and you should be fine. This corner's okay as well. You could sit here, because this bench will protect you even if a smoker grabs you. You shouldn't go down the hole. Maybe you might get pulled down there, I suppose. But usually I'd sit here in this by this locker anyway, or by this wall. That should be fine. But yeah, just be careful of standing anywhere near where the smoker might be able to drag you down the hole. Or a jockey as well, if you're stood like here or something. But even over here, a jockey might be able to grab you, pull you down here pretty quick. So yeah, do be wary of that as survivors. And if you are infected, try to do those things. Get people down that hole, isolate them. And this event, you can duck and crawl under this before it's completely up, so you don't have to wait for the gate to entirely go up. You can just come, and then as soon as you're able to, you'll be able to crawl through it. Stairs, bit of a narrow area for spitters maybe. Not a lot else. No reason to go that way or over to there. There's nothing. Take this can, use it to defend this door. Come in here, make sure you shut the door. Or of course, shoot this first, and then shut the door. Ammo in here, guns. Worth to shut this door. This can be just a good little checkpoint room if everyone's struggling a little bit. Just take some time in here. It's easy to defend. And then when you're ready, move on out. Now this whole area is a big point of attention. This is where things can really go wrong at the end of a run. We do need to be very careful in this area. So there's two ways, actually there's three ways to get down here. Way number one, this is my preferred way. Get everyone in this room, shut this door, and then all together as quick as possible, everyone goes out and jumps out this window. Aim for the bin bags. Make sure you land on the bin bags, because if you land on the ground, you are going to lose a good chunk of health, and if you've got low health, you're probably going to get incapped. So aim for the bins, make sure you jump and land on the bags, because they will break your fall. So that's way number one. Way number two, which I'm doing right now actually, is just going through the building. Just taking the stairs, which are around here, and going down the stairs all together. Again, everybody should really do this together or not at all. Everyone should probably really go the same way. If you start breaking up, that's where things go wrong. So either just come here, go straight left, straight down the stairs, and then it's a nice easy route. There are quite a lot of spawn points and it's a little narrow, so chargers and spitters could be a problem, but for the most part, that is a fairly viable option. And way number three, which is, I'd say, a little bit more of a risky way. Again, people often break up. You might get two people in this room, they'll shut the door, and then two people in this room, and they'll shut the door. Well, actually, there is no door on this bit. But, yeah, it's not great because there are good spawn points for infected here. And here goes Chopper. Stop making noise. Get out of here. But, yeah, this can be a vital point if you are a smoker or a jockey to try and wait around for survivors. Try and wait for a straggler. If all three survivors, or I say all three, if three survivors drop down and there's one left up here, try to grab them. Because it's another, not quite insta-kill, because they can get back up here by taking the stairs. But it can do, you can down somebody. You will have time to down somebody usually. But if you are going to come out this way as a survivor, there's a few easy ways to get down. So many people fuck this up. You see people try to jump to this van, and they'll do this. And then they'll fucking incap themselves like an idiot. So don't do that. There's a much, much easier way to get down that point without any risk of injury at all. So don't do the silly fucked up jumps where you break your legs. Simply come out here onto this ledge. Aim for the blue bin. Just line yourself up in front of the blue bin. Don't jump. You don't need to jump. Just hold W and you're safe. You fall onto the bin. Don't need to land on the van. I didn't lose any health doing that. So that's probably the easiest, safest way to get down from that point. Another option though, if you'd rather be more at the other end of the building, you can use this light. You can drop down onto this light, and then you can drop down from there as well, and that doesn't hurt you either. So there's a couple of ways there to get down. Like I say, I think this one is the easiest one. Just jump on that mailbox. It's simple. Don't try to... You can try and jump on these as well, but the beauty of this spot is that the van will stop you overshooting. So you're pretty much guaranteed to land here every time. Whereas if you try to jump on this one and you hold W, I don't know, there's a chance you might overshoot. And you might just land on the floor. So just go for the blue bin. For God's sake, just go for the blue bin. It's the least fiddly and the easiest to get down. But like I say, preferably everyone should just come out of here, jump on the bin bags, easy. For infected, like I say, try to grab survivors before they get down. Try to grab the last man or the last two if you can, if you've got enough infected. Charger, spit a combo wall here. Or narrow alleyway, you can charge down here. This can be a good spot as well if they do decide to go out that window, of course. So yeah, I think that's all to talk about with that little area. Coming down here, it's pretty simple at this point. It's pretty hard to stop the survivors. Your only hope is this car over here. You can spawn up on top of this building, which is usually the best spawn spot for infected, because survivors pretty much always run down this side. They'll always run down this pavement rather than coming around this way, which is usually a good idea because it's very narrow and lots of spawn spots. But yeah, if you're a smoker, car, hide here, Try to pull somebody into it. You could even try and grab... Whoops. You could even try and grab the last person and try to pull them back into it. If they've got low health, usually best to try and do that to low health people, because then there's a chance you might down them as well. And obviously that can set up stuff. You can climb up on top of this building. This one over here is a good spot most of the time. And then, yeah, it's just a case of trying to stop the survivors getting in here. Spitters can be pretty good in here because there's a few obstacles like this in the way that can make it harder for survivors if there's zombies all over them. You can spawn in these little rooms as well. Charger, boom, grab them out there. So, yeah, I think that's most of it in this area. It is pretty tough to stop people here. Unless they're low on health, then there's a good chance. And that is pretty much it for all of this level. Boom.